My name is Mia Peterson. I've heard the phrase your paperwork is in order enough times to know it can mean anything from you're fine to you're finished. So, when an FAA inspector walked into my hangar at Baybridge Airport at 8:06 a.m. on a Tuesday, holding a folder with my tail number on the tab, my mouth went dry before he even spoke. He didn't look angry. That would have been easier. He looked polite. "Ms. Mia Peterson?" he asked. "That's me. I'm Inspector Halverson," he said, and opened the folder like he was about to read a bedtime story. "We received a complaint regarding unapproved commercial operations, specifically a flight advertised as part of a wedding package using a Bell 429 registered to Northshore Air." He slid a photo across the desk in my office. My helicopter. On a lawn I recognized, gold lights in the background, white roses around the skids, and standing by the cabin door my sister in a wedding dress. My chest tightened. That aircraft did not fly for any wedding. Inspector Halverson's pen hovered above his notepad. "Then you won't mind walking me through your recent operations and who has access to your scheduling system?" I stared at the photo again, and one thought cut through the panic like a blade. Someone didn't just want to use my helicopter. Someone wanted to ground it. My name is Mia Peterson. I own Northshore Air, a small charter and corporate aviation company based out of Baybridge. I'm the owner and, most days, the pilot of our Bell 429 white and silver, clean lines, twin engines, the kind of aircraft people assume comes with inherited money. It didn't. It came with 15 years of early alarms, weather briefings, emergency calls, and the kind of steady discipline that doesn't show up in Instagram photos. People hear helicopter and think glamour. I think liability. I think procedures. I think the difference between an impressive night and a fatal mistake is usually a checklist no one wants to wait for, which is why, no matter how rich, charming, or connected someone is, I don't fly unless everything is correct. And in my world, correct isn't negotiable, not even for family, especially not for family. Because I learned early that the word family is often used the way some people use a master key, something they believe should open any door, including mine. The night my sister Tessa married into the Whitaker family was warm and expensive. That's the simplest way to describe the Whitaker estate. Warmth manufactured by landscape lighting and money that made everything look effortless. The driveway alone was longer than the runway I learned to fly on. Inside, the air was thick with perfume, champagne, and the kind of laughter that says, "We're happy," while keeping one eye on who's watching. Tessa looked beautiful. She also looked tense. I noticed because I've flown people who are pretending not to be scared, and the face is the same. Halfway through the reception, I slipped into a side room just to breathe. I'd barely touched the marble mantel when the door opened behind me. My parents walked in first, my mother with her polite smile that never reached her eyes. My father with his shoulders already squared like he was walking into a negotiation he expected to win. Then Tessa. Then Eleanor Whitaker. Eleanor wore pearls like punctuation. "Mia," she said, like she'd been waiting for a private moment. "We had the sweetest thought. For the sunrise tomorrow, just the bride and groom. A short flight over the bay. Photographer on the ground. Nothing complicated." My father stepped closer, close enough that I could smell the scotch on his breath. "You'll do it. It's your sister." I looked at Tessa. She didn't meet my eyes. I looked back at my father. "No." My mother's smile thinned. "Mia, don't be difficult." "It's not difficult to say no," I replied. "It's one word." My father's face hardened in a way I recognized from childhood the moment he decided my refusal was an insult. "Watch your tone," he said. "My tone isn't the problem," I said. "Your assumption is." The slap came fast, sharp, louder than it should have been in a room full of velvet and wood panels. The sting spread across my cheek, then heat, then something colder than either. The door cracked open in the hall, and I caught the flicker of a phone camera. Someone filming. Someone hungry for a story. Eleanor's expression didn't change. Not shock, not concern, just a faint disapproval, like I'd made a mess on her carpet. Tessa's bouquet trembled in her hands. I didn't touch my face. I didn't give them a reaction they could use as proof I was still under their control. I walked past the stunned guests, through the French doors into the night air. And, as the music blurred behind me, I promised myself something I'd failed at too many times before. They would not cross that line again. Back at Baybridge, the hangar smelled like metal and oil and quiet, my kind of quiet. I texted Nadia, my operations manager, lock the schedule, change codes in the morning. Her reply came immediately, already on it. You okay? I stared at her message, then at my helicopter under its cover. I didn't feel okay. I felt awake. I wrote back, I'm fine. And I'm done. That was the last calm moment I had for days. Because the next morning, the FAA inspector showed up with a folder and a photo. And suddenly, this wasn't just about a slap or a boundary. It was about my license, my aircraft, my livelihood, everything I'd built. Inspector Halverson asked to see flight logs, maintenance records, dispatch notes, and manifests. I kept my face neutral while my mind ran through every operation I'd flown that month, every charter contract, every signature. Do you have reason to believe someone falsely advertised your aircraft for commercial use? He asked. I hesitated for half a second. Yes. He didn't react, just wrote something down. Who? I could have said Eleanor Whitaker. I could have said my father. But accusation without proof is a good way to turn a problem into a disaster. So I said the only safe answer. I'm still confirming. Inspector Halverson nodded like he'd heard that before. You understand an anonymous complaint still triggers a review. I understand, I said. He looked up. Then I'll need access to your scheduling and communication logs for the last 30 days. My stomach sank. Because access logs weren't just about flights, they were about intent. And if someone had touched my systems, it meant they'd gotten close enough to try. I watched him stand to leave, and something in me snapped into place. If they wanted to scare me into cooperating, if this was retaliation dressed up as regulation, they'd chosen the wrong target. I'd spent my entire career passing inspections. I knew how to fight clean. As soon as he left, Nadia came into my office like she'd been holding her breath. We've got a problem, she said, and set her phone on my desk. On the screen was a glossy post from a luxury event account I'd never followed. A reel. My helicopter in slow motion over the bay footage I recognized from a marketing shoot I'd paid for years ago. Then an interior shot, cream leather, stitched headrests, the Northshore Air logo visible on a panel. Text over the video. PRIVAT shed O soon rise flight for the Whitaker wedding weekend Holland Squade ACCTS. Below it a booking email. A phone number. Tell me that's fake, I said. Nadia's mouth tightened. It's real enough to get us reported. My pulse thudded in my throat. How many people saw it? Thousands, she said. And Mia, it's worse. Someone tagged the location. Baybridge Airport. I pushed back from my desk so hard my chair rolled. They hadn't just pressured me at the wedding. They'd built a public expectation. And when I refused, they didn't take the loss. They went after the one thing I couldn't replace. My credibility. Pull everything, I told Nadia. Screenshots, timestamps, archive links, save it all. She nodded, already doing it. And call Mark, I said. I want a full access audit. Every code change. Every key card. Everything. Nadia's eyes narrowed. You think someone got in? I think someone tried, I said. And now they're trying a different door. By lunchtime, I was sitting in my attorney Jessica's office downtown, a folder of printed screenshots in my lap. Jessica didn't do sympathy. She did precision. She flipped through the pages, her face getting flatter with each one. They're using your aircraft's likeness for commercial promotion, she said. That's one issue. The FAA complaint is another. The question is, can we connect them? I can connect them in my head, I said. Jessica looked up. We need to connect them on paper. I told her about the wedding. About Eleanor's request. About my father. I didn't mention the slap at first. I didn't want it to become the headline of my own case. But Jessica washed my face and said quietly, What aren't you telling me? I exhaled. He hid me. Jessica's eyes sharpened. In front of witnesses? Yes. Any video? I saw someone filming, I said. I don't know who. Jessica leaned back. That changes the temperature. If they're comfortable doing that publicly, they're comfortable lying publicly. So what do we do? I asked. Jessica slid her legal pad toward me and began listing, line by line. First, cease and desist to the event account and whoever is behind it. Second, preservation letter demand. They preserve all communications related to these promotions. Third, we cooperate fully with the FAA. Fourth, we build evidence that this complaint is retaliatory. I nodded slowly. And if it is retaliatory? Jessica's smile was humorless. Then we stop treating this like family drama and start treating it like interference with a business.